Beautiful Boston. Having made it all the way from New York City, up the coast through Connecticut and Rhode Island, having quickly popped over to Nantucket for the day, we now found ourselves on the last bit of our journey, on our way home to Nova Scotia. We had one final full day, and most of it would be spent in Boston. Having studied Make Way for Ducklings with our youngest, our first stop was to the public gardens. I always love to visit the public gardens in any city I visit, so I didn't mind at all. We visited the famous statue of Mother Duck and her ducklings, and then walked around the pond, past Duck Island, and under the bridge. We would have loved to see the swan boats, but they had been stored for the season. From there, we walked up Commonwealth Ave Mall, up and down the streets between there and Beacon Street. The back alleys and garages were a favorite with the guys. We made our way up Beacon Street to Chestnut so that we could explore Beacon Hill, our favorite neighborhood to wander about in the city. Our first stop was Tatte Bakery for sustenance. We selected an assortment of things to share and enjoyed a little break before we continued on. The cinnamon and pecan rolls were so delicious, as was the morning bun. I've previously shared much of Beacon Hill from our time there at Christmas, but it's just such a lovely little neighborhood, and it's always nice to see places in different seasons. Just up the road is Beacon Hill Books and Cafe. Every nook of this little bookshop makes my heart happy. It's so beautifully appointed, with such attention paid to every detail. And the wonderful thing was, it wasn't just me that enjoyed it. Each of our boys loved browsing it as well, especially our two youngest, who absolutely loved the children's section on the third floor. The streets from Charles Street up towards the historic Acorn St are rows of beautiful brick townhouses. Window boxes droop heavily and ivy climbs high. Whenever I wander them, I return with a renewed desire to paint my front doors the glossiest, deepest green and to install a charming brass door knocker. The stoops are swept perfectly with nary a weed or wandering leaf in sight. And the gas lanterns. There is something so enchanting about gas lanterns. In their own way, the back alleys, with their maze of iron fire escapes and walled terraces, are equally interesting. After a few hours of wandering around, we found ourselves back at the Commons. With a storm rolling in, we decided to call it a day and take our time heading to our hotel in Maine. We drove up along the coast, taking the scenic way through Kennebunk. We stretched our legs on Kennebunk Beach while the thunder rolled in the distance and the sky turned eerie. Once the lightning began, it was time to carry on. It had been the most amazing 2 weeks. We had seen and done everything we had talked about and planned for nearly 5 years. We had made so many memories, ones I will cherish of my children for years to come. Seeing them experience so many new and interesting things is something I'm thankful we had the opportunity to do. It was worth the sacrifices we had made as a family to get there. But after 2 weeks away, we were very much ready to be home. The final day brought a rainstorm the likes of which we had not seen in months. In fact, it had been months since we had even seen rain. Wildfires had torn through our part of the province, and we had watched the smoke grow uncomfortably close for weeks, always billowing just over the mountain. So while unpleasant to drive in, the rains were a huge answer to our prayers, and much rejoicing happened while we were crossing back into Canada, barely making the ferry. We quite literally drove right on the boat and immediately departed. 3 hours later, we were home, sweet home.